The stalemate in Kano continues as security operatives cordoned off the road to the Nasarawa Palace, where Aminu Bayero continues to hold court. While the Kano state government had on Thursday issued an eviction notice to Bayero asking him to vacate the palace on the grounds that the state wanted to repair the building. Now, as at the press time, no such repair works have commenced. Well, I'm joined now by Sanusi Bature, who is the spokesman for the governor of Kano State, Abba Yusuf. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Ngozi.
On Newsnight. Well, the thinking, let's start with what has led to this, uneasy calm in Kano State, that this crisis really could have been averted. Yes. A situation where it seems that there's no Emir of Kano presently, based on the court rulings and what have you, that this crisis could have been averted if the state government had listened to the court on the issue of maintaining status quo ante by not necessarily reinstating the Emir of Kano against court ruling.
I think the action of the governor, His Excellency Alhaji Abba Yusuf, was to actually protect the integrity of the emirate as an institution. The Emirates of Kano predates Nigeria and predates Nigerian constitution. So therefore, it's over 1,000-year history of people living together under one emir. And the previous administration of Ganduje decided to bastardize that history and take politics into it. So the politicization of the Emirates is what His Excellency promised during the campaign, that he is going to restore the lost glory of the state. And he's only fulfilling the campaign promise. This is not the first time an emir was deposed, because Ganduje did it. And when Ganduje did it, the emir Sanusi, the 14th emir, Muhammad Sanusi, left Kano without any rancor and decided to go away the state for peace to reign. So therefore, Sanusi is now back to Kano as the 16th emir after the repeal of the law. Repealing of the law, which the court said affirmed its validity, confirms that there is no longer the emirates of Kano City, Rano, Gaya, Karai, and Bichi. Right. And I want to put it clear to the comprehension of everybody. Aminu Ado Bayero was never an emir of Kano. Aminu was appointed an emir of 8 metropolitan local government of Kano City. So therefore, with the revision of the law under one united Kano, the emirates that Aminu served does no longer exist.
But is referred to as the 15th emir of Kano.
Yes, he's 15th emir because
do you
Kano
discountenance that? And with the reinstatement of Sanusi, he's also referred to as the 16th emir, meaning that the position of Bayero before Sanusi came back is recognized.
Well, what I want to explain here is he was an emir of 8 metropolitan local government. That was Kano City Emirates, which was at that status because the main emirate was bastardized by Ganduje under the 2019 emirate law, which created Rano, Gaya, Karai, and Bichi emirates. So therefore, he was 15th emir of Kano, but his jurisdiction is not for the 44 local government of Kano. It's just only for the 8 metropolitan local government, which is now abolished.
Right.
And the judge, in his ruling yesterday, affirmed the validity of the law.
No doubt.
But nullified the actions of the governor after the assenting of the law.
Yeah, now
but
that
there's
the
one
court,
point here, Ngozi.
Okay, right.
The governor assented the law at 5:10 p.m. on the 23rd of May 2024. And the assenting of the law and reinstatement of Emir Sanusi happened concurrently at the same time, the same minute, the same day. So therefore, if you reaffirmed the validity of the law based on the fact that there was no court order at that time. So therefore, that should be extended to the reinstatement of Emir Sanusi, because assenting of the law and reinstatement happened at the same time.
But since the court has issues with the process, is the state government willing to go back and review that process in a way that, you know, will give comfort not just to the sitting emir now, the 16th emir of Kano, you know, but to the people of Kano State?
Well, first
is
of all,
the state government willing to do that?
We are not willing. Why? Because we have gone to appeal. We have filed an appeal at the appeal court.
Right.
And for that reason, the judge of the High Court decided to stay the proceeding and transferred the case to his counterpart of Court 3 of the same Federal High Court in Kano. So therefore, we're now waiting for the appeal. We will appeal this case
up to
the Supreme Court.
What's your prayer at the appeal court?
And this is an interlocutory appeal. First, we are challenging the jurisdiction of the Federal High Court to entertain issue related to chieftaincy affairs. Because constitutionally, issues to do with the chieftaincy affairs lies with the State High Court. And we have instituted 2 cases before the State High Court in Kano, and they came almost in conflict with the 2 cases at the Federal High Court.
Right.
So therefore, we will pursue this case vigorously, and it's a fight to finish.
Yeah, it looks like that's what it is, because now you have given Adebayero, yes, the 15th emir of Kano, you've given him quick notice, you know, from the Gidan Nasarawa, palace, mini palace, if you like, and you're also going ahead with plans to demolish the building with the area cordoned off by police now. We do hear there's heavy presence of security. Will you gain access to the place, and how soon is that eviction likely to be effected?
Yeah, the eviction notice was served yesterday after the judgment, because the judgment clearly accepted the deposition of former emir of the 8th Metropolitan Local Government, Aminu Bayero. Because as the law is valid, Aminu and other emirs remain deposed, and the emirates remain abolished by accepting the law as valid. Yeah. That's one. Secondly, the Gidan Nasarawa that we have been talking about is not a palace. People call it mini palace. It's not mini palace.
What is it?
It's actually served for 2-3 reasons. It's actually a cemetery for late emirs of Kano. It's a cemetery. It's not a palace. So any emir of Kano that died will be taken there and buried there. It's a cemetery. And then part of it is used as a guest house for the senior visitors or very important visitors of the palace. Like if the Sultan of Sokoto or the Emir of Zaria is visiting Kano, that's where he will be taken to. So it's a guest house, and then that's where the Emir used to rest if he's coming back from the Hawan Nasarawa, which is an annual festival during the Salah celebration. So the Emir will stay there for some minutes to rest and then proceed to government house for Salah greetings to the governor. Right. So it's not, so Aminu is living in a graveyard. It's a graveyard.
That's an interesting
yes.
angle.
So many people did not understand that he lives in graveyard. And the first order, the first ruling of the previous High Court said he should be given 10 million naira because his human rights were violated.
Right.
That's incorrect. Why I say this with all humility, because he forced himself into that government property.
Are you saying the government? Because I was going to ask, who ceded that place, the mini palace?
Yes.
Who ceded the place, that property to him? And why all of a sudden has it become important to demolish, demolish the building? Do you have to demolish the structure just to get Adebayero out of the way?
Like I told you, when Aminu was the emir of Kano City, he didn't use that place as a resting area, or he was not keeping guests there. So the place is somehow dilapidated. And we are afraid of a situation where something would happen while he's there and people would create a meaning to it. So therefore, we are asking him to vacate the place so we can renovate it to standard, because the new emir, Emir Sanusi, the 16th emir of Kano, will continue to use it for that purpose. So we'll be keeping guests and you'll be coming there to rest.
Are you saying you care
Because
that much?
at the moment,
you care that much about Bature that you don't want any harm
exactly
to come to him? But are you saying,
it's a
are you saying that he would actually understand or recognize that that structure is defective and would be willing to, you know, stay in that building?
That is why the governor ordered the police to handle the matter. And people know, constitutionally, the governor has the responsibility to protect life and properties of the people. So Aminu Bayero is an indigent of Kano and is well-respected human being. So therefore, we don't want anything to happen to him in that very defective structure.
But now you're forcefully ejecting him from there.
Well, not really forcefully, because he forcefully forced himself into the cemetery, the graveyard. So therefore, we have asked him initially to come out of that. He is not under any pressure to leave Kano. Okay. As a citizen, as a very important personality, he has the right to move around because the entire process does not affect his fundamental human rights. He's free to move anywhere.
So are you saying the ejection, the quit notice will not be affected anytime soon?
Well, we are not sure if the police are able to respect the directives of His Excellency because the police have taken side. The police have taken side at the moment,
whose side is the police
orders.
On?
They seem not to have been taking orders from the governor.
Yes,
the governor is the chief security. Yes, the governor is the chief security of the state, and he has the right to take any decision that can help him deliver the constitutional rights given by him.
Why do you think the police is taking sides?
First of all, when Aminu arrived midnight to Kano, at a time when he and his family, Aminu, vacated the main palace, they have taken all their belongings from the main palace. But he was convinced by some unpatriotic politicians to return to Kano and give a fight. So when he came to Kano, he could not enter the main palace because Emir Sanusi II is already there. He assumed the full responsibilities of an emir. So therefore, he cannot go over there. So he decided to go to the emir's graveyard and stay there.
Well, you call it a graveyard.
And this is almost 1 month. You can imagine somebody imprison himself.
How many emirs have been buried there?
Well, I cannot remember the numbers, but I know there are more than 4.
They have been buried in that particular
more than 4
place. Now,
including his father, late Ado Bayero of blessed memory, is there.
Now, can you tell us for sure
his father, his grandfather, his uncle are all there?
Can you tell us for sure that Kano State, as things stand today, has an emir? Because it looks from all indication that, I mean, anything that has 2 heads, you know, some might want to describe it as a monstrous, you know, entity or a monster, if you like. Does Kano State have an emir right now?
The answer is yes, based on the following points. 1, Emir Sanusi II was duly reinstated the same time with the assenting of the law that make Kano under one united emirate. And that is what we are challenging, because we are challenging the jurisdiction of the Federal High Court to entertain issue that relates to chieftaincy affairs.
I asked that question because today, yes, I'll let you land on that. But just so that, you know, I mean, you understand why I asked that question. Both Sanusi and Bayero actually led separate Jumat prayers today, Friday.
Yes, yes.
Usually, that's not
Let me ask you a question, Ngozi.
Right.
Have you eaten?
Oh, yes, I have.
Probably in the office.
There you go.
Have your husband eaten?
Well, that's probably a whole different kettle of fish and time.
So what I'm saying is that
it's my place to ask the questions right now.
Aminu as a Muslim has the right to pray anywhere he wants.
But he led Jumat as an emir.
He can lead Jumat prayer anywhere he likes, but not in the Kano Emir's palace, because that's Emir's mosque. Emir's mosque is attached to the Emir's palace, and Emir Sanusi has been leading prayers, Jumat prayers, from the very first week he arrived the palace. Right. This is, I think, the 3rd week. And he led Jumat prayer even today. So if Aminu led, anyway, let me put it clear. Aminu does not lead prayer. Aminu follow an imam in a prayer. He has never led prayer for once.
Even before this crisis?
Yes, he never led prayer. You can check it. There's no picture or video that will show Aminu is leading prayer. He instructs an imam to lead him in prayers. But in the context of Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II, he leads prayer by himself. So therefore, the official prayer of an emir is done at the Emir's Friday Mosque, which is one of the historic mosques in northern Nigeria.
So what you're
and
saying
it's
is
attached to the Emir's palace, and it has been taken over by Emir Sanusi.
What you're saying is that Ado Bayero was never recognized as a spiritual head in Kano State?
It depends on the deep understanding and learning of the Islamic culture,
right,
and the Islamic education of a person. So probably because Sanusi is versed in Islamic education and Islamic law, then he decided to be leading prayers. And previously, an emir is the chief imam in the history. You know, this emirate is over 1,000 years. Right. So initially, an emir is the chief imam, is the chief judge, and is the emir. So he decides everything before the constitution, before the independence. So after the independence, we now have president and governors and local government chairmen. So therefore, they are relegated into merely traditional institution that protects culture, right, and norms and values.
Outside of the courts, any chance that this could be resolved outside of the courts? For
us, it's a fight to finish, because the governor has the right to dethrone emir, to reappoint emir, to appoint a new emir, or reinstate a former emir. Right, he has the right, and he did that. He has the constitutional right, and nobody can stop that from him. Even if it can take us 100 years, governor has the exclusive right to depose emir or appoint a new emir.
All right, and that's a good place to leave it. Sanusi Bature is spokesperson to the governor of Kano State. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Ngozi. Thank you for having me.